Something unusual has been happening over Pakistan. The last 60 years have seen Chinese and Turkish military transport aircraft making repeated flights into Pakistani military bases. According to a News 18 report, Chinese aircraft were seen at Nur Khan near Rawalpindi and Masroor in Karachi. Turkish military transports were also tracked. Indian security sources believe that the movement may involve drones and other defense equipment. Of course, the cargo has not been independently confirmed, but the timing and the optics is hard to ignore. Pakistan has just entered a defense pact with Turkey and Saudi. China already supplies most of Islamabad's weapons, and during Operation Sindoor, India accused both Beijing and Ankara of helping Pakistan. So, what exactly is moving through in Pakistani airspace? Well, here is what we know so far. Chinese military transports reportedly landed at Pakistani Air Force Base Nur Khan. This is near Rawalpindi. And of course, they also went to the Pakistani Air Force Base in Masroor, which is near Karachi. A Turkish military aircraft identified in reporting as TUAF 526 was also part of the activity. The report says that the concentration and frequency of the movements raised concerns that this was more than routine military traffic. The suspicion is straightforward. Heavy military transports exist to move heavy things: troops, vehicles, missiles, drones, weapons, other military equipment. The report says that Indian security establishments have flagged this as a serious enough pattern to formally note and monitor, given how closely China and Turkey's military support for Pakistan has been tracked since last year's conflict. Look at where the aircraft landed. Nur Khan is not some remote provincial airstrip. It is one of Pakistan Air Force's principal transport and logistics hubs. It hosts air mobility assets, sits next to Rawalpindi, the nerve center of Pakistan's military establishment. Masroor is another major operational base serving Pakistan's southern air defense and combat infrastructure around Karachi. Both bases also figured prominently during Operation Sindoor. India struck Nur Khan base in May 2025. Pakistan later even issued tenders for repairs and equipment replacement at several of these affected air bases, including Nur Khan and Masroor. So, repeated foreign military transports into these very same facilities naturally attract Indian attention, because this is where logistics can become capability. India has direct, documented experience with exactly this kind of support. During Operation Sindoor in May last year, Indian security agencies confirmed that Pakistan was using Turkish-made Songar drones, even the Bayraktar drones, alongside YIHA or Yeeha loitering munitions in its retaliatory strikes. Indian officials estimate Turkey sent over some 350 drones, along with operatives also providing operational coordination during the Sindoor conflict. On the Chinese side, Pakistan fired PL 15 missiles made in China at Indian targets. And Indian officials assessed that Beijing had provided real time satellite intelligence, helping Pakistan choose targets and track Indian assets during the fighting. India's Ministry of External Affairs formally conveyed its displeasure to both countries afterwards, telling Turkey directly to push Pakistan towards ending cross border terror and reminding China that mutual sensitivity underpins their relationship. To be fair, China does not need a sudden 60-hour airlift to become important to Pakistan's military. It already is. CIPRI says 81% of Pakistan's major arms imports between 2020 and 2024 came from China. That was up almost 74% in the previous 5-year period. 4 out of every 5 major imported weapons reaching Pakistan come from one country. Yes, China. JF-17 fighters, J-10CE combat aircraft, air defense systems, frigates, submarines, missiles, and more. And that is why Chinese military cargoes landing in Pakistan in a 60-hour window means more than an ordinary delivery. Then comes Turkey. SIPRI data for 2020-2024 puts Turkey just behind China, but among Pakistan's biggest arms supplier. And Ankara's defense relationship with Islamabad has expanded. Warships, drones technology, military exercises, training, and of course, defense industrial cooperation. Turkey and Pakistan also signed the new Mecca Joint Defense Agreement with Saudi earlier this month. The pact says that an armed attack against one member would be regarded as an attack against all three. It also calls for deeper cooperation in training, logistics, intelligence, and defense industries. Analysts tracking the deal, they note that China stands to benefit indirectly too, gaining deeper access to Gulf defense markets and reinforcing its role as Pakistan's primary military supplier. All of this while staying formally outside the pact itself. So, a concentrated surge of Chinese and Turkish aircraft into Pakistan arriving so soon after this agreement naturally raises questions about whether this reflects deeper coordination between these three countries, which is China, Turkey, and Pakistan. For India, the concern isn't any single flight or shipment, it's the pattern building across military hardware, real intelligence sharing, and now formal defense pacts. Every one of these threads points towards the same conclusion. China and Turkey are becoming deeply embedded in Pakistan's military capability, not as distant suppliers, but as active operational partners. That reshapes the calculus for any future India-Pakistan confrontation, where Indian forces could once again face Chinese origin missiles, Turkish drones, and possibly Chinese satellite support working together, just as they did in Operation Sindoor. So, a concentrated aircraft surge on Pakistani air bases isn't proof of an imminent crisis, but it is proof that this axis, Turkey, Pakistan, and China, keeps deepening quietly and consistently. And that's exactly the kind of pattern that Indian defense establishment says it can no longer afford to treat as routine. You're watching Times Access. I'm Aditi Prasad. Click on the bell icon below to like and subscribe to this channel and never miss a Times Access update.
A nuclear weapon.
The old rules are breaking. Alliances are shifting.
Apologize again to the victims of the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein.
Wars are redrawing maps. Oil routes can shake economies overnight. One election in America can impact markets in Mumbai.
No tax on tips.
One move by China can alter the balance in Asia. One conflict in West Asia can hit every Indian household. This is no longer a distant story. This is our story. Your story. Because for the first time in decades, India is not watching from the sidelines. India is rising. India is negotiating. India is balancing rivals. India is building military strength. India is shaping trade routes. India is becoming central to the new global order. And yet, most global news is still told through someone else's lens. Washington's lens, Beijing's lens, London's lens. But where is India's lens? Where is the platform that explains the world from our perspective? Welcome to India's Axis, a new destination for geopolitics, strategy, and power seen through India's eyes. From Neighborhood Watch to the biggest global stories that matter to you. Why tensions in the Taiwan Strait matter to India. How one move by China can affect India's security. What turmoil in Pakistan means for regional stability. How Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Bhutan shape India's neighborhood. Why oil choke points can hit your wallet. How wars abroad can reshape India's security. This is not noise. This is not shouting. This is not recycled headlines. This is sharp, intelligent storytelling. Daily explainers, war room analysis, strategic conversations. Because news is everywhere, but perspective is rare, and in the age of confusion, clarity is power. Axis is for the audience that wants more than headlines. The axis of global power is shifting. India is at the center of that shift. It's time the world was explained accordingly, to understand the world through India's strategic lens. Subscribe now.